We tell the phoenix story wrong. We say the phoenix burns to ashes, and then, after the fire is out and everything is quiet, it rises. Well, my life didn't work that way. And I thought, what if the transformation doesn't happen after the fire? What if it happens in it? I was standing at my kitchen window. Usually, I could see trees, a playground, children running to school. But that morning, I saw something else. Divorce papers on the counter, my chemotherapy schedule on the fridge, and in the reflection, two little faces behind me, my children, waiting for me to turn around and say, "Everything will be okay." But I didn't know if it would be. My husband had left. Cancer had come back for the second time, and I had absolutely no idea how I was supposed to hold this life together. Your version might look different. Maybe it's not cancer or divorce, but maybe you know what it feels like when the life you thought you had just collapses. I stood there for a long time. I just let myself feel how unfair it was, how terrifying and lonely. I didn't try to fix it or find the silver lining. I just stood there and I thought I was broken. The pain didn't go away, but at some point I noticed that I could hold the pain and still make a choice. Someone would later tell me this was a gift, the ability to feel everything, the grief, the pain, the complete rawness of it all, and still make a choice. And honestly, I'm still not sure I agree, because in that moment, it didn't feel like a gift. It felt like everything was falling apart. And still there was a choice. Not about the cancer or what had already happened, but about what I would do next. I could wait to be healed, to feel stronger, more certain, or I could act without any of that. I could accept that I was in pieces, my life was falling apart, let it be true for a while, and then act. Right there, not ready, not certain, just not waiting anymore. And that morning, I did something I still don't fully understand. I sat at the kitchen table and opened my laptop. My hands were shaking because I barely knew what I was doing. And I Googled how to start a language school. That was the plan. That was all of it. I was a single mother undergoing chemotherapy. Half the time I couldn't remember my own password. It didn't look brave. It looked crazy. People thought it was a mistake, and I thought it was probably a mistake too. Someone said to me, "Maybe you should slow down." But slowing down didn't feel like rest. It felt like disappearing. And maybe for a while I needed to disappear a little to let myself feel scared and not okay. But I also knew somewhere underneath that fear that I couldn't stay there forever. Not because the pain was wrong, but because I still wanted something. I didn't know what exactly, just something that was mine. Maybe you know that feeling, that moment when staying where you are feels harder than moving, even if you don't know how. That decision didn't fix everything. It didn't remove the fear or make life easier, but something shifted. I stopped waiting to be okay before I started moving. And I've come to think that maybe waiting for readiness is actually its own kind of trap, because readiness never announces itself. It doesn't arrive before you act. It arrives because you did. Life kept testing that lesson. When the war came, I ended up in Germany, safe, but somehow still lost, not understanding how long it's going to last and what to do next. After a year, I noticed something that I didn't expect. I was safe, but I wasn't really living. And for a while, I couldn't understand why. Maybe you know that feeling when everything seems to be okay, but you still feel like this is not you. Because safety isn't the same as purpose. And I think that is the hardest part. Because when you are safe, when you should be grateful, but you still feel like you are waiting for your real life to start. Everyone told me, just be grateful you're alive. Just be grateful you are here. And I was. I was so grateful. But I was also disappearing. I didn't know if moving would help. I didn't know if I was making another mistake. I was waiting to feel like myself again. But waiting wasn't going to get me there. So I moved to Poland and returned to teaching. The fire hadn't gone out, but I needed to try to live while it was still burning. Now I spend my days in a bilingual kindergarten teaching English to children. And every day I see something very clear. Children are not waiting to be ready. They try, they fail, they try again. They become while everything is still messy. You are closer to that than you think. You were that child not long ago, and some part of you still knows how to try, fail, and try again. Just don't let that part that learned to wait win. I didn't either. The business didn't fix me, the move didn't heal me, but I was moving. While still scared, the fire never went out. I just learned to move while burning. Transformation doesn't happen after the fire. It happens in it. Maybe you are in that fire right now, waiting to be ready, waiting for the flames to die down before you start leaving. I understand. I stood there waiting for the same thing. And then someone told me this was a gift. For a long time, I couldn't hear that because gifts are supposed to feel good, and that one didn't feel good at all. But here is what I think now. The gift wasn't the pain. The gift was what the pain forced open in me. The ability to hold everything together that was falling apart and still make a choice. That's the gift nobody wants to receive. Maybe you are in that moment now. I can't tell you if it gets easier. I'm not sure it does, but I moved while the fire was still going. And the fire never did go out. I just stopped waiting for it to. And the thing is that the fire doesn't have to go out. You can move while still burning. You're not broken. You are becoming.